Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Tossing Dwarf podcast with
Ryan.
Michael.
and we're just doing a quick video here. We wanted to keep this excluded from the podcast because we didn't really want to override it with sports, and I think that's actually worked out really well. We're super happy with the podcast. As long as there aren't any audio issues, I think it was really good. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. It's our second podcast video.
Number 2.
Also,
Link in the description.
Yep, the link in the description, and please follow us on Twitter so you can get updates on the channel and all that. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, etc. We're talking about bowl games and NFL playoffs. Let's talk about NFL playoffs first because it's the easiest to get out of the way. First round, I'll just go over the overview. Then these two will give their predictions. I'll give mine last. It's fine with me. And then we will go on to the bowl game. So basically, the AFC, we've got Houston hosting Kansas City, and then you've got Cincinnati hosting Pittsburgh. The NFC, we've got Minnesota hosting Seattle, Washington hosting Green Bay. Ryan, go.
Okay, so for Houston, Kansas City, I'm definitely going with Kansas City. I don't think Houston has what it takes.
I love Alex Smith, man.
I think Kansas City is just a better team. As far as Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh, if you asked me this at the beginning of the season, I would have said Cincinnati.
Right.
But right now, with the way Pittsburgh's been playing and with Andy Dalton being out, with AJ McCarron kind of being inexperienced,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. With Minnesota, Seattle, I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to take the Twins. I always call them the Twins. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
It's funny that that's the upside, too.
Yeah, I know. And I don't even really think it's an upset. I think it's just because they're the Vikings.
Well, and Seattle's
it's the
playing,
Seahawks. Yeah. But if you look at their seasons, the Vikings are a better team. They just are, in my opinion.
Okay.
And then I'm going with an upset again. I'm going to take the Redskins over the Packers.
That's ballsy.
It is ballsy. I don't know. I don't know. I think the Packers are going to choke in the playoffs, and I don't think the Redskins are a better team, but I think the Packers are going to choke, and I think Washington's going to pull it out.
For me, definitely Houston, Kansas City. I think that's an easy one. Houston's the...
You taking Houston?
Or no. Kansas City.
Okay.
Houston's the Redskins of the AFC, so we all know that. And I don't think they have what it takes. Kansas City's an easy one. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh's weird. I don't know.
That is definitely the hardest one, in my opinion, to pick.
Because Big Ben's back. Is Andy Dalton going to be cleared, or is he out? Do you know?
I think he's out.
I think he's all
If he's-
out. 'Cause he broke his wrist, didn't he, or something like that?
It was his thumb.
I don't
But it
know.
was his non-throwing hand.
I actually don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I could take an AJ McCarron with a really good receiving core against a Pittsburgh team that's banged up and doesn't
Okay,
have
but an
Le'Veon
AJ
Bell.
McCarron that's played 4 NFL games?
Have you seen what Antonio Brown is doing?
Fair enough.
I mean, like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason people don't want to face him. I don't know. Go ahead, though.
Washington.
But, okay, let's say Dalton's in. Do you still pick Cincinnati, or do you pick...
If Dalton's in, I pick Cincinnati.
Okay. Minnesota,
Washington-
Seattle. Oh, okay.
Green Bay. That one's a hard one for me too because I want it to be Washington, and I feel like they can. I feel like they have every tool they need to beat Green Bay. But I feel like Rodgers is kind of coming into it. It's late, but he's kind of out of that little slump he had for a little bit, and I think he's coming back strong. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be close. But
That's fair.
just because I'm biased and I want them to win, I'm going to give it to Washington.
Okay.
And then Minnesota, Seattle, I'm giving it to Seattle. I mean, Russell Wilson's on cloud 9 right now. He's playing amazing, just had a baby, I think.
Why is that relevant?
Because it's a mood thing. When you're like, he's on top of the world
That's what
right
he said
now.
about Adrian Peterson too, but then he didn't play any different.
Brett
Yeah.
Favre's dad died, and he still played amazing. It doesn't matter if it's a good moment or not.
Fair enough.
Okay, jumping into mine, I'm actually, just spoiler alert, I'm picking all the road teams. And I'm going with Kansas City over
That's
Houston.
ballsy.
It's not, though, because if you look at who it is, it's
All
actually...
the road teams is what I meant, not
Okay.
that specific team.
Yeah, no, all the road teams in the first round.
It's
I'm
really
saying-
not in the first round, the road teams, because the road teams
Okay.
are the favorites.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Kansas City's going to win. I don't care if Andy Dalton, if AJ McCarron, or if Chad Ochocinco comes back to the Bengals in his prime. I don't really care. This Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to beat the Bengals, and it's not even going to be close. I am predicting at least a 14-point deficit. And this receiving team with Ben Roethlisberger is playing the best in football right now, out of anybody, as far as a quarterback to receiver core. Their numbers are ridiculous. and Pittsburgh's defense is but I mean it's not like bad by any means. I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I'm gonna say like 31-14. I don't think it's gonna be close.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's close at all.
I think that's fair.
I think the games that will be close, both games, Seattle and Minnesota. You know, I was really easy for me to pick Seattle in a blowout for this one at first because I'm like, it's Seattle, they're playing great, and it's Seattle. But Minnesota really showed me some stuff in Lambeau last week, man. And I'm not going to take Minnesota. I'm taking Seattle. That being said, I would not be surprised if I'm wrong. The same thing goes for the Washington Green Bay game. I think this is by far the closest playoff game we'll have until the
And the sad thing is, it's not close because both teams are so amazing.
Yeah.
It's sad because it's close because both teams are kind of the bottom teams.
Both of these teams will not make it past the
Yeah.
divisional round. And what I'm saying, I guess, is that I think Green Bay wins it, but I think it's gonna be close by like real close margin that they win. But I mean,
like Lions game close or
like 18-16, yeah, like a Lions game score. Like it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be like, wow, why are we watching this? But at the end of the day, I do think Green Bay pulls it off. I just think it's closer than, any of the other games, which really draws an interesting scenario in a lot of ways for what happens in the next round, which we'll talk about next week or the week after. No, this weekend coming up is the football playoffs.
Is it?
Isn't it? I think it is. I don't think there's a bye week until until the Super Bowl after.
You might be right.
Because because you earn a bye week by getting the first two seeds.
Yeah.
So it will be them. We'll know next week what the next round holds. But no, I think it's very safe to go with all the road teams. To be honest with you, the only game I am so sure of is Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. Like I will be floored if Cincinnati wins. I'll be honest,
Yeah.
and I will eat my words if they do. I
Will
will.
you eat your socks again?
No, we'll not. Eat our socks. We don't talk about that. Okay, bowl games.
Okay.
All right. How about we go with this is a little bit easier way of doing it. The most surprising result of a bowl game.
Oh, that
Okay, wait. Surprising result as in like before the game started, I would not have expected it, or
before.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Because if we're just going the game that surprised me the most, the second half of Oregon TCU.
Yeah, for sure. No, but like before it.
Okay.
Say it, Ryan.
No.
Say it.
For me, that's surprising, but I know for a lot of people it wasn't. Everyone thought Michigan State was going to lose to Alabama.
And I was right.
The only people who thought Michigan State was going to win were Spartan fans.
I thought.
To be fair, that's been the case all season. Just this time we happen to be wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Michigan State still finished in the top 4.
Yeah.
Like,
They went to the playoffs.
Well, and the messed up thing is, really, we should have been number 4, but they didn't want. No, Alabama should have been 4.
yeah.
The way I read it and the way things worked out, Alabama was going to be 4, but they didn't want Clemson, Alabama as the first game. So they put Alabama to 3, which made Michigan State play Clemson. We were supposed to play Oklahoma. We should have played Oklahoma in the first round, I believe, is how I read it. I don't remember what I read, but
Yeah.
anyway. That game happened. Michigan spanked Florida,
Yeah.
which, I mean,
Mauled
it's Florida, but...
Okay, most surprising bowl game for you then? Wait, did you even give your answer?
It's tie between Oregon TCU and
Okay.
Michigan State Alabama.
It would be probably Oregon TCU for me.
Okay, my most surprising, not because at the first before that game that might have been more surprising, or it was more surprising to me after the first half of that game. Mine is the Clemson Oklahoma game. Like I really thought Oklahoma was going to beat Clemson,
Yeah.
and they didn't, and they got beat.
Yeah.
You know,
And honestly, I was kind of I was surprised by I thought Stanford was going to beat Iowa.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to do that
No.
to Iowa.
Now, I will say my favorite bowl game out of any of them was the TCU-Oregon game, just because, I mean, you're down 30.
I honestly couldn't have cared less who won that
Yeah.
game, and I was so hyped watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting at my desk, and I was watching it on my phone. I was screaming. It was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I'm like, go, go, go!
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really, good one. Now, I guess we can do this then. Now, because no one actually predicted this national title game. Actually, the only one that got someone right was me, and said Alabama would be in it. So, who wins the title game, Clemson or Alabama?
Clemson.
Seriously, like...
After the way they played against Michigan State, I say Alabama.
I think Alabama's going to win, too. I think Alabama is just significantly better.
Because it depends on which Alabama shows up. Because if the Alabama that played against Michigan State where Jake Coker was not the
Yeah.
same quarterback he's been all season. If that Alabama team shows up, nobody is stopping them.
Yeah.
Because Jake Coker, if you look at it, Michigan State, we just got to stop Derrick Henry. If we stop Derrick Henry, we beat Alabama. Derrick Henry had like 78 rushing yards. Jake Coker won that game for Alabama. And that's who everyone's been underestimated.
Well, and Alabama's defense, if we're being honest. Like,
the defense, because State's,
then you can't score.
Michigan State's drive time was punt, interception, punt. But offensively speaking, Jake Coker put that game on his back and just carried it.
Yep. So I think Alabama wins against Clemson.
Same.
But I've been saying Alabama was going to win the whole time. So let's
What do I know?
Yeah. Anything else?
Did you guys say did you guys say you were surprised by Stanford beating?
I wasn't
Iowa?
surprised by Stanford beating
That didn't
Iowa.
surprise
I was
I was
surprised by
surprised
them beating
blowing
them. I was
them
surprised
out.
by them.
I watched the first 4 minutes of that game, and I was like, I don't need to watch this. I know what this. I
Yeah,
know what's
right.
gonna
But like
happen.
before the first 4 minutes of that game, would you have said 41 to 13?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have said that, but I think I thought Stanford was going to win by a large.
I thought
margin.
Stanford's going to win.
I thought they would win convincingly.
I don't think
but
Iowa's
not
good.
that convincingly. Iowa's
Like they're good, but you did well, and you had a really good season, and
Better
your
than
record's
Michigan.
awesome. But you also didn't play Michigan. You also didn't play Ohio State.
It's because they're in the other half of the Big Ten.
Exactly, but yeah, you did great, and you had a good season. But you also
And
didn't
honestly,
play
if
the
you
top
ask
teams in
me,
your conference.
Iowa's a better team than Michigan.
I don't think Iowa beats Michigan.
I think they do.
I don't think so.
Okay, you're wrong, but they do.
I mean, it's a hypothetical, so you really...
You can't say it. I mean, it's like you guys won in a miracle, and then you played Iowa and you won. We could have. You never know. So yeah, you can't ever say it. But I think Michigan beats Iowa.
I really don't.
I don't think so. I think it's a close game.
Why do you think they beat Iowa?
It's just Iowa is an they're I don't want to say underachievers, but
They went undefeated until the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I'm not going to say that. But I don't think when it comes to like physicality and having athleticism on that team, I don't think they compete with Michigan.
Athleticism isn't. That's not what's in question here. Is who can win a football game?
I think Iowa wins that game. I think it's a close game, if you want my honest...
Michigan State could barely get any pass offense going against
Iowa.
with Connor Cook at quarterback position and Aaron Burbridge as one of the receivers. One of the best combinations in college football right now. Who do you... Jake Butt? Yeah, Jake Butt's really good, but Jake Rudock isn't as good as Connor Cook. And if Connor Cook couldn't throw against them, Jake Rudock's not going to be able to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And
Iowa wins a very grinding out game. in
Michigan State, we won on LJ Scott pushing down and scoring. What running back do you have that's going to do that against the #1 rush defense in the nation?
that. No, Iowa wins that game, in my opinion, without question. But that didn't happen. It's not going to happen this year.
Right.
So it's... Well, technically, I guess it could happen this year. But but did not happen, regardless. Other than that, though, I think that pretty much covers the bowls. Really quick side note that isn't bowls that we didn't get to talk about in the podcast. We had talked about, though, kind of in a little bit, was Cerrone going to welterweight
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
for UFC.
I'm not sure what it means for the division. I personally think it's a good call for him, but I don't want to say it's a good choice because that almost goes to say that he was failing in the lightweight division, which I don't agree with at all. Donald Cerrone was dominant in the lightweight. I mean, he had the fight against Rafael dos Anjos that didn't go necessarily well for him.
Right.
But that was also a controversial call. But if you're looking at it from Cerrone's point of view, he's not getting another title fight in the lightweight division for a long time.
Yeah.
Because that's his second time in a row losing to Dos Anjos.
I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move not because he needed to get out of lightweight, but because if he stayed in lightweight, he wasn't getting a title shot for a while. And when he got it, would he have been in as good of a spot to win it as he was when he lost it? You know. So
well, I think if Cerrone didn't take the time off before the Dos Anjos
it would have been a way better fight.
I think he would, because he said himself, he's one of those people that if he's not constantly grinding and constantly pushing, he slacks up. And I think that might be part of what happened. I don't think he lost that fight he shouldn't have lost there. That shouldn't have been a stop. He had finally recovered, and he was starting.
They should have.
Yeah, he was.
If he was
starting
going to
protect
stop
himself.
it should have been when he was against the cage.
Exactly, and
But-
so we talked about this in the first episode that we did, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
regardless, I mean, do you have any thoughts on it you wanted to add for it, or
I just think it's funny that he got fined. That's all I care about Cerrone at this moment.
What did he get fined for?
He had a piece of his original Muay Thai shorts that he used to train in that his grandma knitted or made for knitted that she made for him, and he patched it onto his fight trunks, and they fined him because it's not a Reebok logo.
I mean, you gotta follow the rules.
Right.
They fined Alex Smith for wearing a Giants hat at a press conference. Like, all right.
That's fine.
Anyways, we're at 15 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and call that. We might actually do some of these more. We'll call it like sports talk or something stupid. We'll come up with a name. But I think that's it, guys. Follow us on Twitter. It'll be in the description. We'll put a link to the second podcast video as well. Hopefully, we'll have a logo pretty soon for everything. And until next time, have a good one, guys.